How old were you when you saw Shrek?
I never watched Shrek.
Oh, Kiwi, man. Your
I
childhood
watched-
sucks automatically.
I watched Shrek on like 70. Like
70 years old, you went in the future to watch
little,
Shrek.
little part of it. It's like
What
those
do you mean
those.
on 70? What is that?
It's like 3D film with chairs moving and water spraying.
What do you mean on
on
70
you.
though?
They did market it like 70, 80, 10D
Oh,
like that.
Oh,
like
7D.
70.
Oh, at like
Like-
some theme park at
yeah,
Universal?
yeah, Universal Studios.
That's your
Singapore.
first
In
exposure
Singapore?
to Shrek?
No. Before that, I had Shrek stickers and stuff.
That's so cute.
Welcome to Fear of Stares, Desi Films Decoded, podcast where four friends from different backgrounds unlock the world of Desi cinema. I'm Winnie, the Desi who's never been to India.
Hi, I'm Killy. I'm from India and I love films. Yay!
I'm Nikki, one of the three idiots in this podcast.
I'm Adam, and I don't like films. Boo!
So today we're doing Three Idiots, which is considered by many to be a classic, but after watching with you, cynical people, I'm not sure if that was the sentiment shared around the group.
Well, let's get background first, because like I heard a lot about it. But yeah, Winnie, what's your background there?
My background.
With
Well, I
Three
watched it a
Idiots.
few years ago. I remember really liking it. I didn't watch it this time with you guys because I was in Nepal, so it's not fresh in my head, but I remember it being impactful and like I understood why it received the amount of attention it did.
Yeah.
And you didn't feel that way.
Well, we'll talk about it. No, I think it was hyped up too much by everyone that's seen it.
So what you missed out, Winnie, was that, I mean, we were hyping it up so much, and then rewatching it, I was delighted to see it again because this is a movie that I've seen back in college. A friend of mine mentioned it in high school, and the song Zooby Dooby is pretty, like, it lives rent-free in my head, basically. But yeah, what you missed out when we were watching the movie is that these jokers are just joking a lot about the movie, making fun about the movie.
Are
It's
you
like,
serious?
Yeah.
Well, I'm almost glad I missed out on
So,
that. You just
like,
ruined a
through and through,
perfectly
questioning,
meaningful
like,
movie.
the logic, the Bollywood logic.
I think it was a mistake that we saw PK first. Okay? We talked about this. It's very similar. So same actor, Aamir Khan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Doing
I'd
a
say
very
that,
similar role.
Yeah.
And, so I'd already seen PK. I'm not familiar with Aamir Khan. Like, so, this is all new to me.
Yeah.
And PK was so similar that watching it, the older version was like, okay, I've seen most of this. And
Yes.
it comes from that same school of thought. I have this kind of theory where some of these movies are just encouraging you to be clever for clever's sake, and it creates a bunch of fucking assholes like that, like just try to be clever, and so like I don't necessarily like the theme of it, and we can get into it. Like I'm all for talking back.
I remember, I think I mentioned it in the PK that like why I didn't like PK that much when it came out was like, I'm like, oh, I have seen this guy doing the same thing before. That's why that was one of the thing that put me off during watching PK, I think, when I watched it for the first time. I think I mentioned it before during PK podcast.
You guys had the same experience, but you watched, like, Killy watched Three Idiots first, so he didn't like PK, and then Adam watched PK first, so he didn't like Three Idiots.
Did you like Three Idiots, Killy?
I
You
was-
like Three Idiots more than PK?
Okay, so for me, what happened was like, so Three Idiots is kind of loosely adapted from a novella called 5 Point Someone by a writer called Chetan Bhagat. It's an English novel. I read it when I was just getting into the university, and it was a pretty fun novel. It was like people coming of age in the university, and then like university struggle, engineering college struggle, and I was going to an engineering college, and like what people do there, like these like studious people who didn't do anything bad or anything like funny during their school episode, and then they go to transition to university and then starts drinking and a lot of stuff. So I really loved that novel, the character journey of it. So I was it was marketed. 3 Idiots was kind of marketed and hyped up like, oh, this is like 5 point someone on screen. So I went to watch 3 Idiots thinking that it's 5 point someone on screen, but when I watched it, it's hugely different. Like it's very different film.
So all right, so let's break down the plot, like the big tentpole moments, and then we can dissect different parts of it. So yeah, Nikki, break it down.
Okay, 3 Idiots. 3 Idiots stars 3 characters, right? Amir Khan, as we've all known from PK, he plays this quirky character. I think his name was Rancho.
How old is he in the movie?
Wait, this is something I don't remember,
Is this
but he
important
looked.
detail?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so he's joining university.
Yeah.
So
Like
going by Indian education system, he would be 18 to 19.
Okay, cool. All right, go on.
18 to 19. But
Somewhere
yeah,
between
it's-
17 to 19, like that range. Yeah.
So right from the get, so right from the get go, we know that Rancho is peculiar. But he has a fascination with learning. He's also good at questioning authority figures. He likes to make inventions on the fly, which I think is an inspiration. I read somewhere that the movie was inspired by some inventors in India, which is where that character trait comes from for Rancho.
I mean, it's a very idealized point. Like,
It's like
way of
every-
seeing inventors.
It's every mom's
Yeah,
dream
exactly.
of their nerd
Every
son.
Indian mom's dream to have a son like Rancho.
Yeah.
Probably every mom, not even just Indian moms.
Is it?
Oh
To
yeah.
have a genius
Such a-
kid.
A genius kid
Yeah,
that
genius kid,
that like
yeah, true.
owns
True.
like a boat or invents stuff and everyone loves him and has a
and saves babies.
and saves
yeah.
and can be a midwife. Come on.
So yeah, he's the guy. He's the character that is the central figure where he questions, university norms like hazing and the pressure of studying. He's joined in by 2 friends, Farhan Qureshi, played by R. Madhavan. He's the really introvert, nerdy looking guy, the one with the glasses, who has a keen interest in photography, but then his parents expect him to do engineering,
Yeah.
which is something that he doesn't want to do, but then he's doing it to please his parents when his heart's really into photography. And then you have Sharman Joshi as Raju. So Raju is more of like a guy that is living in poverty, and he's entered this university to get them out of the the poor lifestyle. So that he is also pressured to do well, which is going to be like a central theme in this movie. And then these 3 are what the movie calls the 3 idiots, because they're always getting into trouble, kind of like I was thinking more like Western college sitcom.
Well, I don't think they even ever acted like idiots.
It's just Virus. The professor Virus was calling them idiots, right? He's played by Boman Irani, as we all know, as the guy with the seizures back in Happy New Year. His name is Dr. Viru, or as the students call him, Virus. But then he's like this strict and controlling. I don't think he's not just the professor,
No, he's
but
like the provost
principal
or the dean or
He was
something.
like the dean or the principal.
Yeah.
He's everything.
He's everything,
He's
basically.
bad dad.
He's the bad dad. And of course, it's not a Bollywood movie without some love interest. So he has a daughter called Pia, played by Kareena Kapoor. Once again, we're seeing the same actors and actresses. But yeah, she's this, Kareena Kapoor's character is this like doctor, and
Not in university.
not in university. And she plays Amir Khan's love interest. I don't know. I feel like that, rewatching it, I feel it's kind of forced, a little bit forced, but I still love the movie. I don't know what I know you guys don't like it, but to me, it was,
So they meet,
it's a good movie. So
and then they fall in love, and then but why do they hate Amir Khan?
Cause he's like questioning the system. Like, I know Dr. Virus was like giving a speech about how he has this pen and it was supposed to be for the astronauts.
Yeah.
For the space astronauts, and like nobody has ever owned it because it only goes to the brightest student. And then Amir Khan's character was like, why don't they just use pencils?
Yeah.
I think that was the punchline. It's like, you know, just he's just being a smartass, and like that's what we're gonna get from Amir Khan's character. He's just like being a smartass. He's just questioning things that the illogical things that Dr. Virus is saying.
Yeah, so he's the person who challenges the norms.
Yeah. I think for me, so I've seen this movie from a international film festival back in my college here in Thailand, and I think I don't know. I think about why they selected it for the film festival is because I think there's a lot of parallels between our education, Thailand's education system, and India's, because I think there's a lot of pressure for students to do well. People aren't really questioning teachers or anything. We're just supposed to memorize answers. You know, I think it sets a great example for students at the time. For me, it's like to you know, always think critically, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's. Adam,
Yes.
how do you feel about that as a Westerner?
Well, no, talk about that more. What was your schooling?
So I go to international school, right? But then when I entered university, it was a very Thai style university. So it's Chulalongkorn University, which is considered one of the top universities, right? And entrance and the people trying to apply for this university, like if you come from a really if you come from a Thai school, if your educational background comes from a Thai school, to get into this university is considered like a major achievement for families. Like I remember when I decided to do the entrance exams. I thought it was easy, right? I mean, I guess maybe because I just had like a more privileged lifestyle. But anyway, I saw this girl. She comes from like this Thai school. I think she was her family was a friend of my mom, and were friends with my mom. And then like she could not get into the university, and they were crying. Like they were literally crying because it was just the amount of pressure that's placed upon these kids are just overwhelming. And I think. And it's like, that's not even the worst case, because I think not just in this university, right? But like in Thai universities in general, like the concept of like studying hard and working to enter like universities or passing exams, whatever the case, the pressure is so overwhelming that if the students are not doing well, they might commit suicide, which is something we see in the movie, right?
Yeah, which is very similar to India.
So
as
when
well.
we get to learn Virus's character, he's like this really strict guy. There was this one kid in the movie that he couldn't finish the project in time. Yeah. And like the Dr. Virus threatened him, saying that, you know, I'm not gonna let you graduate, you know, if you're not gonna get this done on time. And then you know, Amir Khan's character saw what unfolded, and then he decided that okay, he's gonna help him study.
Yeah, he was like a mechanical engineer, like making a drone, which is like a big deal for a student to make in the film's context. Yeah. Right. So he was doing something different from everyone else. Like he was making some gadget which gonna work, and then stuff like that. And he was like
for like a science fair,
little off, and he couldn't finish it totally. And since the deadline passed, and then he
said he had like family trouble, right?
He also
just
add that emotional
because
weight.
Father was like sick and everything. Yeah.
And then, you know, turns out that before he gets to help him, we find out that the guy hung himself in his dorm room. And I think that's like, I feel like when I first saw that scene all the way back in college, I thought that was powerful because
being in that system, like it's that scene is really powerful, that because at that point of time we were getting to know like so many cases of suicide from engineering colleges, like top engineering colleges in India, like IITs and everywhere, where IITs is like this milestone that people achieve. Like they have to study super hard in their +2, like 10+2 curriculum.
Yeah, it's like
that
MIT.
time. Yeah, it's like getting into MIT. So it's really tough, and people would do anything to get there. There is a whole coaching system kind of situation going on, like where they will send their kids to just study for the exam so that they crack the exam. And it's like unbelievable. It's so strict and so pressurizing kids, so much pressurizing kids. So those stories were coming out at that point, and then this film kind of uses that plot as a plot device in the film. So it really worked at that point of time.
I'll talk about my education background, but also, I've worked with a lot of kids in this region, in this age group. So, like, I've done admissions for very, very, very rich people applying to school, and for not rich people applying to school looking to come to America and stuff. In Thailand and Nepal and India a lot, right? That's kind of my main area that I work with. So, like, I do experience, like, a lot of these kids in this age group, too. Me growing up, I went to, like, a private elementary school where it's very, very small, like one class per grade, right? Like tiny, like
Okay.
this. So there's 24 kids in my grade period, right?
Oh,
Like really, really small.
There's those sections and stuff. Right?
Yeah, like you were just with the same kids from kindergarten to 8th grade, like and you never changed, and like you had one teacher, like it was tiny, tiny, but the education was really good, and I learned a lot and read a lot and stuff, which set me up because then for public school I went to just a high school where there was 5,000 kids total. So it was like a huge, massive difference. And just because I was like set up well in junior high and stuff and like was pretty literate, and like, could write papers and stuff, high school was easy, but I don't think it would have been as, easy and stuff. But I was on like, the advanced track a bit. I was with a lot of friends that wanted to go to university. It was never a tremendous pressure. Like, you were supposed to go to university, and I knew some kids that were aiming high. Some kid was applying to Yale and stuff, and that was cool. But a lot of the kids, so I went to high school in LA. It was a lot of Asians. A lot of them were just staying in like the University of California system, so they're going to like UCLA or Berkeley and stuff, and those were really hard to get into. I wanted to just be out of state, so I didn't focus on that. But there was like pressure to get into like top schools, and people had aspirations, but there was no like, college mills or like, doing extracurricular or anything like that. And I was with the advanced placement, so they did care a lot about grades and stuff, but it just wasn't, I didn't perceive it as that serious. They might have at home. But for me, like, I didn't have much pressure either way. Like, it was just assumed you go to college, but which one didn't really matter too much, working with kids here, some people like to criticize, like, oh, they don't, it's like rote memorization, they don't teach critical thinking, blah, blah, blah. I honestly don't think they didn't teach critical thinking in America either that much. I think it depends on the school.
Definitely more than in Asia, for sure. You're allowed to like have discussions and question your professors, your teachers. You're not allowed to do that here. It's a sign of disrespect here.
That's
I don't
like
know
a
about
major
that,
but
difference.
that's very like that's very different with India. Like in India, like if you questions your teacher, if you show that you are like interested and everything, you are rewarded.
Can you disagree with your teacher? Because I think that's kind of like the big difference I noticed, like studying in Thailand
So there would be
to
good teachers and bad teachers always, right? So there would be egoistic teachers who don't like at all people questioning them and their methods, but there would be teachers who would be like very open to discussions, and so there we had like experience with both of them. And in Indian education system, the teacher holds so much power over everything, so it basically comes down to what that teacher as a person is, and maybe sometimes the culture of that school or something like that. So it's very like low level decision, like it's not like a how it's a top level decision, how the education system is managed. But like I had good chance in like privilege to get a good school, which was like a private public school kind of school. Was a good, like one of the top schools in the town where I'm from. And then I also got into a university which was like a very well sought out engineering school in West Bengal state, and it's like out of roughly around 150,000 student, like top 1,000 students or something like that can get into that engineering school. So I got there. So you were supposed to be smart, quote unquote smart, because you're getting there. And then like in any university, if you disagree, if you ask question, you're usually most of the teachers are welcoming to that. They would, but you have to be nice about it. You cannot be like a brat and just ask for sake of asking. You have to ask for the knowledge purpose, and then they will entertain. But they had their ego issues. The teachers had their ego issues, definitely. I had faced, like, there were a few teachers who were good teachers in teaching the subject, but had huge ego. There were teachers who were not good teaching their subject, but had good like huge ego and would ruin you if you argue with them and stuff like that. But there were good people as well, so it was a mixed bag. But overall, like, if you do that, people will look up to you. Like, if you do smartly, like if you argue and if you ask questions smartly, people will be like, yeah, he's a smart guy, a smart girl.
In
That's
Thailand,
why
though, it's wrong.
it's
not
not looked
encouraged.
down upon.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Thailand,
I mean,
it
I
is.
think culture plays a big role here, right? Because in Asian culture, there's always a respect for seniority. If anyone's
Oh, yeah,
older than
yeah,
you,
yeah.
authority, like, you do have to bow down to that to a certain degree, right? So
Yeah.
you do look up to your teachers and your professors. Whereas in the
definitely,
States, you
definitely.
kind of like, they're just people. You don't really have this massive respect
Yes.
towards them. You can call them by their first name. In
Yes.
Thailand, you have to call like sir or Mister, right? Like,
Oh,
very
that's
formally.
that's true in India
Right.
as well.
So like I feel like in the States this kind of relationship of being able to just talk to your professor like an equal, it does encourage critical thinking. It encourages more leeway as well. Like, you see that in Virus as well, right? Like the principal in the movie. The reason he's so egotistical is because of culture.
Yes.
It's because he thinks that he is entitled to that kind of power, whereas teachers in the States would not feel that way because they're just a professor at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
This thing of exerting power over students is also very Indian. Like, it's there in India. Like, while I'm saying that you are allowed to question and argue, but there is a but like there is a level. If you irk the professor in certain way, the teacher certain way, then there will be retaliation, and that retaliation will be bad, and they have the impunity to retaliate against students in the education system, which is like very bad. And they have ruined, like, there are so many stories I've heard from friends in IITs, like for the example I was bringing earlier. There have been so many stories of like teachers marking students like, oh, they have wronged me, and then they will retaliate in a wrong way because they are in the power position. So that's very rampant. That happens a lot. Yeah. So in that way, it's very similar.
And that's a prevailing theme throughout the movie as well, right?
Yeah.
Anytime the three idiots does something against Virus, he's like, I'm gonna make this exam harder. Gonna make sure you suffer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the structure, I agree, encourages critical thinking. Like, absolutely. Like, being able to talk to your teacher is huge. And in Thailand, it's sad because like they just don't. It's difficult to teach like Thai people sometimes because they just like are afraid to ask questions, and it's like
Right.
not very dynamic.
And it's very like conditioned in them to be that way, right?
Like, they're being polite,
Right.
but they have a big cultural or big culture shock when they go to America and like they're required to ask questions all of a sudden. They don't know, like, they're not used to that at all, like class participation. But I just want to say, I think the big difference and why you see like all these suicides and stuff that happens is, at least the time I've been in Asia, a majority of the kids like do their subjects because their parents ask them to. And in America, I think that is less.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that changes a lot. Like,
Yes.
I think it is like when the student is choosing their major and going to study what they want, there's a lot less pressure. But when, like, if I was forced to be an engineer, I would destroy myself too, because I can't do that. Like, I don't have a mind for that. You know, that's not what I want to
Yeah.
do. So that stress and the tension and all the suicide, yes, it comes from pressure from the school, but I think it's also just from kids doing majors they don't want to do,
Yeah.
but their parents want them to do.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting that I think for a lot of Asian kids, like myself personally, I didn't have that much pressure like in my household, but I had so much self-imposed pressure just because of the culture I was in, maybe the friends I had, So it was very much like putting pressure on myself to always do well, excel in exams, and try to get a scholarship and stuff, even though that was not directly exerted upon me. So it's almost
Yeah.
environmental as well to
It
some
is.
degree.
I think engineering study in India involves around like the that Raju's character. That's a very very common theme in like engineering schools. Like it's like the class mobility. Like education is the only way that will give you class mobility.
Mm-hmm,
Like you know, like
exactly.
you can move to your upper
Which is
class.
a lie, but go
Like-
on.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I mean, which at the end of the day doesn't work out like that. But like yeah, it's like oh, you may be like one of those people like who could change your
Yeah.
financial burden. But I have met
Like, why
many
did you go to
people
engineering school?
because I was good in science and I loved science subjects when I was in school. And so I had two options, like three options actually, like to study science as a like theory or go to practical courses like engineering or medical. I kind of got into both in government college, and then so getting in the government college was a big deal because I was told that like my parents wouldn't afford the private college education, so I have to go to the government college. And getting in the government college was like public college was like very difficult. I mean, that's where like the competition comes in, right? So I kind of got into medical as well, but like I got to know that you have to study a lot for 5 years to be a doctor, and then also study again and again. And I was stupid. I was 18. I was stupid. I thought like, okay, no, I don't want to study that much. So I heard that if once you go to the engineering college, you will graduate anyway and you will get a job, because I got into the good one, and then you'll get a job, and then I'm set. So I was like, okay, I'll take the easy way out. And,
Engineering school, easy way out. Makes
Yeah, I mean,
I studied sociology, dude. I took the
kinda.
easy way out.
No, I mean it's the easiest way to get a decent job.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
Did your
why.
parents have any influence on your decision?
Oh no! Actually, they wanted me to be a doctor because if you get medical and engineering, you have to go to medical. That was the mindset that because being a doctor is way more prestigious than being an engineer. Where like in my surroundings, it varies from places to places. It's not like a generic thing to say. So everyone expected me to get, and people like my relatives and everyone was asking me like, why are you not going for medical? Like you got the chance. It's so rare. But then I was like, no, I just want to study engineering. I cooked up some stories that I want to be an engineer and shit like that. So yeah, so then I ended up in engineering school.
I'm so glad you didn't become a doctor.
Imagine saying Dr. Killy.
Well, I
like,
know.
we would not be here today.
I was
He'd
like,
be-
thank God he's not doing surgery on me.
No,
Thank
but
God, thank God.
I mean, he'd be
my
saving
nickname came
babies.
from
You'd be
the uni-
Rancho.
My nickname came from university. So if I were in medical college, maybe my nickname would be something different. But yeah, the
Sorrow.
person would be
Doctor Kill People.
I think I would have been a good doctor. Yeah.
Nikki,
Yeah.
university. What did you have pressure on where you went?
Yeah, a little bit actually. My parents actually wanted me to go to the one that I ended up in. It was a lot of pressure. In fact, I'm being reminded of it. I actually fought with my parents. I didn't want to be the best. I just wanted to choose my own university, go where I want to go. But it seems like there was that pressure of disappointing my parents, of not going to the one that they want me to. So
What did you study?
I studied communication arts.
So
It's
they-
media, basically.
So they pressured you on the university you should go to. Did they have any influence on the major you chose?
Not on the major they chose,
It's
but
just
it,
the
it
university.
had to be that.
What did they want you to major in?
It could be anything. So it's similar to Winnie. It's like there is not a lot of pressure in like career choice or whatever.
Oh, okay.
but just that they want me to go to a very like reputable
University.
That's literally
Chula
it.
is.
And
Chula
Chula is
the
one of the
best,
top.
man.
I mean,
Like,
it's
one of the
debatable
best.
now whether it's the best.
No, I
because
think all Thai families, like if their kids get into Chula, that's instant
No,
pride.
also, like, I
right
think
there.
Chula-
Did your parents go there too?
Yeah, my
So
parents
that's
went
why.
there.
Yeah.
Chula is prestigious.
No,
Chula
in
has
general,
like I think lower fees I guess, for the Thai studies. I guess the international like
believe
English
so.
medium is
Yeah, I
it's
think that's for most
more-
universities. The international program's always a little bit more expensive.
little
But
more.
Chulalongkorn,
Yeah,
I
but-
think like even in my school,
I-
Thai students would go study SATs like for months just
Yeah.
to get the score
Education
to
in
get
Thailand
in.
is very expensive. That I learned after coming. To
Only
Thailand.
international schools.
International.
Yeah, but this is the problem. So with Thailand, like the English education is so bad that if you do have a kid that doesn't speak Thai, like kind of their only option is, unless like it's a bilingual school, it's like international school, and that's like 15 to 30,000 a year.
Yeah.
It is so like Thailand's great to what? Yeah.
USD.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
USD. Oh, okay.
That's up to like 1 million baht.
Yeah, 15, 30,000
It is-
baht. No,
It's
It's as
very
much as a
expensive.
university.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's very
Or more.
expensive. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
And there's no middle ground, right? Like
No.
you either go to Thai public school or you go to
It
an
doesn't
international
make sense.
school and
And
pay
it's
around
not
that
like
much.
they're paying the teachers a lot of money also.
The international schools they are. I'm saying if you go, that's the only option because the Thai schools don't do English, so, like the public schools.
Yeah,
That's that's
What I also
something
find very
is-
interesting is that so I went to international school. I'd say it was one of the cheapest international schools, right? Less prestigious than the one Nikki went to for sure.
Oh God.
But like so, a lot of them were Thai. A lot of them were Thai speakers, but we learn in English and everything. But then the moment they get into university, to Chulalongkorn and such, they lose all their English.
Yeah.
It's almost like all the international school dynamics just disappear because they enter like the Thai university system.
Yeah, that happened to a lot of the people that went.
So what happens
Yeah.
there?
we just adapt becoming Thai basically.
No, I mean, you are Thai, but like,
But like you know, I
like
was
like talking and like, what's the medium of instruction in Chula? Like, what program you were in? Like, what was the medium of instruction?
it was in English, but the professors would usually speak Thai just to make it easy for everyone.
I see.
And there were moments that made me and a couple others go like, well, that's not.
So, and
That's
this
not
is
very
the other thing I
professional.
want to mention here is, yes, there's pressure in Thailand for some certain universities, but you're never gonna fail.
Yeah.
what?
Oh, I don't know about that. So
I'm-
like there's one university called ABAC, Assumption University, and it's notorious for being very easy to get in but very difficult to get out of.
Yes, I
Yeah.
have a bunch of my classmates who
Oh,
stayed there for
wow.
like 6-7 years.
Literally, that's actually not that uncommon.
They did not graduate until like I was already like working on in my
but
third
that's
year.
their business model. But like, I'm serious. Like in Thailand, it's just true. Like you don't really fail. Like you're not gonna like you're gonna fail out. They're not gonna fail you. out.
Yeah, yes and no, I would say.
I know teachers that aren't allowed to give Fs.
Yeah, I know the people that. In Chulalongkorn, I know a person that didn't do well, and he turned out okay.
But how did he not do well? Like he must have done really not well.
Yeah, like he skipped classes, didn't give a shit about exams, and
Yeah, like
think-
in America,
yeah,
like
they'll expel you.
in America, you miss a midterm, it's over. Like in Thailand, you have so many cushions that if you like fail out, it's like you did not go to school at all.
Okay.
Like period.
all right, I'm not gonna like mention names, but they're like people, celebrities to this day. They were my classmates.
Uh-huh.
They didn't do shit
Yeah.
in university. They skipped classes. They just partied their asses all year. It was
And
it was a
they
point.
passed with
Yeah,
colors.
They were
flying
like
colors.
valedictorian.
they didn't do crap, and then like it kind of pissed me and a bunch of others who worked really hard just to get good grades.
Yeah, and it
Wow.
validates your hard work.
Yeah, it really does. And
Yeah.
then to this day, there's this one guy that I can think of right now. So I'm a journalist, right? I mean, I go to lifestyle events, and sometimes I bump into this guy, and he's doing well. He's like a model, social media influencer. He's like a web show host. And he didn't do shit in
Sure.
university. It's so unfair when you think of it that way.
So
right?
is it because the university is like literally not allowed to fail these kind of people, or they just use their family money and
I have no
family
idea.
legacy
Could
to
be
get
like
by?
both.
Well, so that's a bigger debate on the education system itself, like how education system has become another tool for capitalism to like, like, so you're kind of investing on yourself to earn more money
Yeah.
rather than like
Right, the
getting
cost is on you.
rather than getting knowledge or education. It's like you're investing. And so that's why we're seeing in a way that, oh, they didn't do well, but they're doing well in life. Because like we are thinking that education is
Like the only
something
way.
it owes us to put us in a better spot in the capitalistic
Right.
this system where because we invested our effort and our money,
Yeah.
so we
And
are supposed to get it back
being
because
the
it's an
top
investment.
Yeah.
being the top student shows how much you will debase yourself for the good grade or boss in your job. So like if you are the best, it means you followed all the rules and were the best employee possible, and that's why you get top grades. So it's basically like how much will you debase yourself and do
No,
whatever
I
it
think
takes.
Honestly,
that's true.
yeah.
I've known so many toppers from universities and stuff, like who doesn't like corporate because maybe it's like their ethical. At some point, they took an ethical decision or moral decision that like they don't want that life. They want different life, and then like just go for like further academia or like do a mid job forever.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I did graduate magna cum laude, and I don't think I'm a great employee, but I think because I
Yeah.
like saw
Exactly.
the game a little too
Exactly.
much.
Because
So, I mean,
you're smart. Like
if
the
I
toppers
could-
are usually smart.
Yeah,
right?
if I could turn back time, I think I would have focused so much less on education and
Yeah,
studies. I think I
yes.
dedicated so much, and like it worked out. I got a full scholarship. I got to go
Yeah.
to the States. Like
Yeah.
I
decent
think
career now, but like I feel like I missed out on a fun childhood. You know, like when you're nearing 30 and you're like, oh, this is like you go straight from school to like work, and you don't get that break. So I
I
feel like
did the
it's so
opposite.
important in
Yeah.
college and in school, high school, to just relax
I
and
got
have fun
into
a bit.
good-
Like
Yeah.
I
So,
got into a good
figure yourself-
university and I thought like my life is done, and then I stopped studying.
So-
wow.
We'll get back to the movie really quick because we have to. But I just want to mention, so when I did admissions for the really, really rich Thai kids, you would meet them at like 12 years old to start their profile. Nikki, did you ever see an admissions counselor?
I did. Yeah.
So
Yes.
like, you'd see kids when they're like 12 or 13, and that's when you start them. They have to like get a patent or like make a company, do a service, whatever, have a huge portfolio. So by the time they're 16, they write a really good personal essay and go to like a top university. But these 12-year-olds are making CVs and stuff, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And again, there's usually a huge disconnect with what the parents want and what the kid wants.
Yeah.
Because no 12-year-old wants to do this at all. What I try to tell these kids that go to college, because I wish I learned it better too, is the whole reason. And I'll say what I tell them. Look, Harvard puts their classes online for free, right? Like the knowledge offered is not the secret part. That's not what you're paying for, right? That's free. You can just read the book. Like that's nothing. But you're paying for the people next to you.
Yeah.
And so like you need to network. And if you're not talking with your professors and building relationships with them and your fellow classmates, like just don't even bother going to school. It's pointless. Like the point of school is like to network and build that. Like you can learn fine, but again, that's free. That's just go read that book. Like network while you're there. That's how you take advantage of it.
Yeah, but bring home the point. Like I think the film we are talking about,
Yes,
Three
thank
Idiots,
you.
kind of emphasizes on that point of the education system and what's the point of education system, because the guy Rancho is not getting a degree for himself. He's just getting the knowledge, which is like epitome of like getting a knowledge but not caring for the degree or.
But he's not even
But-
getting knowledge because he's just being a smartass to teachers the whole time.
So my point is like the direction that the director wanted to go the film and the message to take away is really novel, and I really admire that and I really love that part. But how he did about it, like how the way of delivering the message is where it irked me. Like I'm like,
Wait, but you got the message, so
No, but
obviously
when
the way
I got the
of
message
delivering
because
it
it was very,
effective.
of course, like it was on our face.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so
like,
basically, Aamir Khan is like the ultimate Reddit college dude who he shows up and he like argues with the professor with like facts and logic and owns the professor, and everyone's like awed by him. And he's like this peculiar guy because, yeah, he breaks all the norms, whatever. But like, again, you learn later that he just is going to like learn stuff, but he's not. He's learning. He's there to kind of be a smart ass. He's not learning shit.
Maybe he's learning, but they are not showing us the learning part.
They're not showing the learning part. Yeah.
The film is just showing us his argumentative side.
I think he's just there to teach them. He's there to reform the education system.
But he scored well.
We're all searching.
He scored well in the exam and everything. Yeah, so I think we should let's talk about the plot, like how the film goes about it.
What's the twist and why is he just there to learn?
Okay, so it took us like I don't know how long to get to this point, but the movie is told in like two different moments. Like one takes place in the present day where all the characters lead successful jobs, and the other is when takes place like 10 years before that, which is when they're in college. Mm-hmm. So the movie actually begins with Farhan and Raju being called by this other character that I failed to mention, Chatur Silencer. Yeah. So this Chatur character, he's like the foil to Aamir Khan's character. He's the one that relies on being obedient. He's the student that wants to be like top student through memorization, rote learning. That's what they call it.
And even they show a side of him where he's distracting other kids
so that he could
do
achieve
bad in exams so that he can top easily. So he's like very antagonistic to the whole thing. Yeah.
So what we find out is that Chatur was supposed to give like a speech praising virus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just as a prank, Aamir Khan's character decides to like alter his speech a little bit.
Yeah, because he doesn't know Hindi.
Because he's so interested in learning.
He doesn't know Hindi, and like he had to do like a whole Hindi speech. So he made it right by the librarian. So librarian wrote the speech for him, and he changed chamatkar to balatkar, which is like wonderful or great to rape. And so his whole speech was like full with rape innuendos, which was like super
funny.
But what did the subtitles say? It wasn't.
It said screwed.
Screwed. Yeah,
right? But it's like the purest Hindi term for rape, not fuck or screw anything.
Okay, so he delivers.
So funny.
I guess the translation is lost on non-Indian speakers.
When you're doing puns on a certain language, it's really tough to write.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're puns, right? Like it's really tough to write subtitles. Like yeah.
Okay, but so that happened. So like he gave the speech. Chatur gave the speech. Everyone was laughing at him. The virus was not pleased. Chatur gets embarrassed for life, and we get this scene where like the three idiots are celebrating at this. What is that tower, Keely?
I think it's a like water tank.
Water
tower.
tank. It's not like a landmark.
Maniacs.
Yeah, it's like water tank tower. I think. I think it was a water tank tower or some sort of or mobile tower or some sort of some tower in the university.
So yeah, they were just laughing about the prank that they just pulled, and then Chatur comes up, looking all humiliated, like crying, and he was like. He's making a bet with Aamir Khan's character, like 10 years from now, let's see who's more successful.
Yeah.
And that's how the film actually begins. It begins in the present day, where Chatur calls the Aamir Khan's friends to the top of this Animaniacs tower, and they're like, so what we the audience and the characters find out is that they don't know where Aamir Khan's character is. They think he's like dead or something, and it starts.
He didn't keep contact with any of them.
He didn't keep in contact. So it's the whole movie. The present day plot line is them going on a road trip. The plot twist is that they managed to get to Rancho's like mansion, and they find out that it's like a funeral of his father, but then they discover that Rancho is actually not
Rancho.
who we claim. It's just Rancho, but this is the real Rancho.
Yeah.
And the person that they've known their whole lives throughout college is someone pretending to be Rancho.
Yeah.
Which is like, wow.
Wait,
I think
so Rancho died? The real Rancho?
His father. It was his father's funeral.
Okay.
Yeah.
His father died. Yeah.
And then we find out that like in the past when so the Amir Khan's character, he was like
Gardener's son.
he's the gardener's son, and I guess this kid likes to learn. And I don't remember, like, he gets shamed for something.
Yeah, so what he used to do is like, I remember in the past timeline in the university, he was telling the errand boy of in the college that, oh, if you want to study, you don't need anything else. You just need a uniform and you can go sit in any classroom and study. So that's what he used to do when he was a kid. Like he was not in a school, so he would just get his master's son's uniform or some uniform and go to the school and sit in at the random class to just study, just learn things. So that's what he used to do.
Yeah,
and
so
do
he
homework for his son. Yeah.
Yeah, so the gardener's son is he likes to pretend to be other students from other schools, and the real Rancho is like, hey, you know, I'm gonna use this to my advantage. You know, do my homework, study up and stuff.
Which is symbolic of lower caste just propping up, do nothing assholes.
It just reminds me of people. Actually, it's actually a thing in Thailand, right? People filling in other people's spots, like
nonstop. Yeah.
So you know, I don't think it's far from reality. This is actually something.
No,
that,
I mean, all the rich kids pay for tutors or people to do their homework or write their essays or take their tests for them. Like, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But no, nobody needs that anymore because we all have ChatGPT.
Everyone is a rich kid now at school. Yeah.
You can tell you can tell who use AI.
Cheating is democratized.
But what I really like about this movie, it sounds like, is like they make a distinction between learning and getting a degree or like you know, getting some kind of recognition. You see from Rancho, like he really just wants knowledge. He doesn't care about getting.
Okay. When we come to the plot where who he really is now, then we can take home the point that
exactly.
What was the message? Yeah. Go on, Nikki.
Wait, but we already said he's a gardener.
Yeah, that's it.
No.
He was.
No, then he will reveal who he is, right?
I think that was the twist.
that was a big reveal,
No, but
Kitty.
he is the scientist whom
Chatur
is looking for his reason for coming to India. Another reason was like he's trying to locate this amazing scientist, Phung Suk Wangru or something, who is somewhere in the mountains and like has like infinite number of patents or something like that, and to sign him up for his company. And at the end, it turns out that was the actual Rancho, like that was the Aamir Khan character.
All right.
So he did.
So Rancho became
He's a scientist, actual scientist, like who has like so many patents, but he's a teacher in kids' school.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a perfect son again.
All right. So okay. All right. Let's rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
So yes, they did find out that the gardener's son, Amir Khan's character, is Punsuk Wangdu. He's supposed to be this like entrepreneur scientist who lives in a very secluded part in I think it was like what's the region that you said? Ladakh. Yes, it was in Ladakh.
Place. Yeah.
Yes. A friend of mine just went recently. Anyway, so Chatur keeps chastising that he's gonna like do some partnership with this Punsuk guy.
Yeah.
And then I guess the twist is that we find out that at the very end, Amir Khan is that man, is Punsuk.
Yeah.
So okay, a couple things. Number one, because the movie takes place in present day, right? It's Amir Khan as the perfect son. He's a super smart scientist that teaches kids, of course, and lives just in a remote place, just waiting for the girl of his dreams to come back again. He's 44 in present day, and he's, plays the college kid at 18 years old. And, like, Disney spends so much AI money to, like, put these actors, back in time, and, like, Harrison Ford looks like his younger self. They don't do any of that. It's just, like, they do makeup, and it was convincing for me. But when I found out his age, like, okay, imagine if we had a movie with Tom Cruise being like a bachelor student. Because that's what it is.
It's the power
Adam,
of film.
I think the point of the movie went way over your head. This is your key takeaway.
That's not my key takeaway. But I will say...
That was a huge distraction.
It was like Adam would never let this part go. Like, he was so fixated on the way the
We've watched
character...
Shah Rukh Khan play himself and his father.
Yeah.
And this still got you?
Well,
You should know Bollywood
yes.
by now.
Well, no, but,
Achilles said.
but this is what. But I'm trying to imagine the American equivalent. Like if Brad
There is
Pitt
no-
now was playing a bachelor student, and I'd be like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Like because especially like it works if you don't know who the actor is more. Because I was like, yeah, college student. He looks a little old, but whatever. He looks very good for 44. I'll say that. He looks very good for 44, and they didn't use any AI de-aging CGI. They just like put some makeup on. Yeah, okay, you have a hoodie, you're 44, or you're a college student. But like if you know the actor and you've grown up with him your whole life, and he's playing a bachelor student in college,
It's
it's
the-
weird.
I think that's why he picked up that mannerism, that quirky mannerism, because he was not doing that in the present self,
Like
like
quirky mannerism.
like how he was behaving as a college
Sure.
student, like the one that you were talking about, that
Yeah.
he's that quirky behavior that he takes to PK as
yeah.
well, right? But he was, if you like watch it closely, like he was not doing that when he's in Ladakh as a scientist, like in the present tense. He was not behaving like that. He was behaving little more normal.
Sure, yeah.
So I think that was his differentiating part in his acting to portray a younger guy. Though
So in
when I
that
was
case,
young, they were like quirky, weird behavior.
in that case, he thinks at 18-year-olds and aliens act the same way.
Yes, because he's so far removed from 18-year-old age, so
Right.
he thinks 18 years are aliens.
So again, it's not his acting. It's not. Again, I
I'm
think
just
it's
kidding.
worse if you know who it is. Because I didn't, so it wasn't a problem. But once I realized, I was like, oh, I was trying to imagine like George Clooney now,
Yeah, so context.
like going to his first class.
How do you do, kids?
Is that not weird? Is that
No,
not
it's
like, totally distracted?
So it's like contextually, no, it's not distracting for Bollywood watcher or like Indian film watcher, because it happens so many times that we have, like we don't like even take that to mind. Like
Now, here's
it
the
was
other
never a discussion. It may be like a think piece on an article, like how good Aamir Khan look as a college kid, or like how he pulled off a young kid's version on screen. But that's an article. But I've barely seen a discussion on that point, that why is this old guy playing this young kid role in the film? Because it's like so common, and for guys it's very patriarchal. It's only guys. Girls, whenever they cross 30, they have to do the
Grandma,
role of
time to be a grandma in the movie.
mother or elder sister of the hero or something. They cannot be a heroine anymore, like love interest anymore. It's changing, but those are like exceptions. But anyway, it's for the guys. They will be 50 or near 60, and they will play 20s, 30s.
That is wild
character.
though.
Yeah.
Like, cause again, like you know, like Brad Pitt is like 60 something. He looks great for his age.
I mean,
Yeah.
like Adam, also just to say that I think white people and brown people age a bit differently.
Sure.
Yeah.
No offense.
No, it's true.
That's
But I'm
true,
just
but
saying, you
still
know
they look-
that he's Aamir Khan. He's a huge superstar.
But-
And like, you know, so we did the math. He is only 4 years younger than Virus, the professor that he's fighting against.
That's actually funny.
It's like Chong Won.
So there's like this old professor who's like, and they're fighting, and it's this elder guy. He's only 5 years older, and then his love interest was 29 or something.
Yeah, so
in the
over 10
movie-
years younger.
In the movie, he's dating older because he's a bachelor student, but in real life, he's still like 6 years older than her or something.
Yeah.
I'm bad at math.
Not 10, over 10 years.
16.
Over 10 years. Like, yeah, he was
That
like near
wasn't
40.
my main theme takeaway, but that was very distracting the entire time. And I kept having to check with them, like, wait, so, because then all of the actors with him are the same age.
But the way I
No.
remember it, Adam was fixated for like
Yeah,
for
it
like 30
sounds like
minutes.
it. I
still am.
For like 30 minutes long. Like he just kept talking about
I
the
kept making
age.
Kelly look up
He kept-
everyone's ages on the phone. Like,
he
how's
kind
this
of missed
person?
a lot of plot points at one point, and we had to rewind it back and then start again, like from a certain point. I'm like, okay, Adam, watch the story.
Yeah, Adam,
like,
I think we're about like 10 Bollywood movies in right now, if not more. And I
Yeah.
think you should know by now that you
I
cannot rationalize Bollywood
imagine,
films. Throw the
imagine
logic
when
away.
Winnie, like, think of it that time, like when Winnie imagined Shah Rukh Khan to play his baby role, or you were imagining
Baby
it?
Shah
Yeah.
Rukh Khan,
Yeah,
yeah.
Baby
Shah
Shah
Rukh
Rukh
Khan.
Khan, and I put a face of Shah Rukh Khan on the baby's body
Yeah.
for the Instagram reel. Yeah. Yeah, so
Believable.
it's totally believable.
I just think it's
people
funny that
pull it
Hollywood
out.
spends like, $10 million to DH Harrison Ford, and meanwhile, like, India's just like, no, just throw the actor in there, screw it. You just,
All right,
Yeah.
if you didn't know Aamir Khan,
The
you didn't know
culturally
anything
trained
about Bollywood
audience.
movie, would you realize that he's much older than a college
No,
student?
I wouldn't have known he was 44.
There we
Yeah,
go.
so
No, I
the-
know, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, but if you know him, it's weird. Now, my theme takeaway, though, is that, okay, so he's going to school, and this guy, and everyone's killing themselves because it's engineering school, and it's a lot of pressure, and we all want the good jobs, and we all want the job interview, and there's tremendous pressure. And here's this guy that shows up, and he just like challenges the professor with a bunch of like meme Reddit logic facts of like, but actually you could use a pencil in space, which is what the Russians did. It's not like a huge trivia thing. And then you find out at the end, like, he didn't need the degree. He just went to learn. And all these other guys, like, they eventually, did what they wanted to do. The guy that wanted to be a photographer became a photographer, and that's great. Like, you should pursue your passion. My big point is, I think people go to school for the wrong reasons and then are unhappy. The takeaway is wrong because you do go to school for that degree. If you're going to learn, just read the book.
No, I would say an environment plays a huge role in learning. So when I went to film school, at one point, people were going to film school to get to use the camera because the camera
sure.
was a rare thing, to get to use the edit table. But when I
Okay,
went to
yeah.
film school, it's all digital already, so there is no point. But what film school helped me, like I really haven't used my alumni base yet or something like that. But what it happened was like the feedback system was very good. Like when you are working, you getting so much feedback and the people around you. So
You went to school for the exact right reason, but and which was to learn to think. But these kids that needed to do class mobility needed
of
to get the
course.
good degree and just
of
needed
course,
to get
of
the
course,
job.
it's a bigger reality. It's like education system is not existing in its silo, right? It's existing in this whole world, that like rest of the world. So yeah, so that's why that education is a device to get the degree. So you're right, like people are going to get the degree, and that's the harsh reality of education system. And that is like not because their parents are telling them to, it's because the situation is like that. Like parents are not evil people just forcing their kids to do things. Like,
Yeah.
it's like they also want certain things from their kids, or whether pressurizing, how much pressurization or everything is debatable. It's varies from culture to culture and everything. But it's the sad reality. Like, they want that from their kids, and the kids are kind of pressurized. So it's like a unending
Well, sure.
event of unending cycle. Like, they are gonna do the same thing, the similar, maybe in a different degree to their kids.
But what
Again.
should be the main takeaway from the movie? Or like, why was it impactful for you, Winnie?
I think okay, sorry. I missed the part when you added meaning. Sorry.
There was a line about like life is a race or something like that, and then it had a lot of implications on the rat race about how that's not the only way. So I don't know. I think a lot of us like bend over backwards just to make sure that we get this degree, because when you're 18, this seems like the most important thing, right? Like, you have to choose a degree. You're committing to a life path, and you have to do this all at the age of 18 when you have no wisdom, no experience. You don't really know what you want, and you commit yourself to this path, and you just keep going down the rabbit hole further and further. And I think this movie is just a way of like pulling you out and saying like, it doesn't have to be that serious. Like, life is really not that serious. And for some, it is. Like, when like Killy said class mobility, I think that's why I studied so hard, to make sure I can move up and have a better lifestyle than I grew up having. And maybe now I can look back in hindsight and say, I should have had more fun in school. But also, like, I am here where I am today because I did put in that effort. So
You
I
did
think
really
it's
well, I'll be honest.
right. But I think it's like, it's about finding the balance. And I think this movie is not saying like, no, don't study, it's not important. It's just about like, find the balance where you can still pursue what you enjoy, and you don't have to like give up everything. You don't have to base your whole existence on the validation of one exam score or one test. But I think it's a slippery slope, because if I was a parent, I think I try not to pressure my children, but I would have an expectation that they'd go to college still. So it's a bit of a...
I think in the environment of where like one direction narrative is always peddled out that you need this. This film kind of, when it came out, a product of his time, right? So when it came out, it kind of put that questions on big screen, the opposite question on big screen, like legitimize that concern of like following passion, following like not taking, like not be part of rat race and stuff like that. So that struck a chord with everyone
Right,
because
right.
it was like, now it's way more talked about, but that point, like no big stream, like big media was we didn't have any big media like that kind of focused on that point. I think that's why it kind of worked out as in the audience that, okay, yeah, let's say this big piece of film, like, questioning
Yeah,
the
yeah.
education system in this way.
It's like despite what you've
Yeah,
been told
so
throughout your life,
that's
there's not
why.
only one path to success. I
And
think
that's
that's
good.
all that.
And that message is great.
And I think in other parts of the world, maybe that's not the prevailing message. But I think in India, especially, that very much is the message. There's so much pressure to like just go. I think Indian parents are always like engineer, doctor, or what's the other one? Lawyer. Yeah,
Yeah.
engineer, doctor, lawyer. Anything else, it's a failure. Right, so this movie is just opening up a realm of possibilities, and you have this character that likes to do photography,
Yeah.
which is
right.
very common, but also never taken seriously in an Indian household. Or I think most Asian households,
music.
right? That's a hobby. That's not a
Even
career.
music.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I guess the takeaway I had was similar to Winnie's. It's just like it paints this reality that most Thai people can never really have, is like, it's not everything has to be about getting good grades or whatever. And to add to the photography thing, it's like I did ask my father, he works in the he's a diplomat, right? And then I asked him, did you always want it to be a diplomat? And he was like, no, I wanted to be a photographer. But it wasn't a viable career choice.
Yeah,
That's why.
photography is very tough. Like these fields are actually way more tougher than the regular like profession that our parents push us for.
But
Like
Kili,
these are like way
yeah.
tougher to achieve.
I do want to hear your perspective though, Kili, because you went to engineering school and then
Yeah.
you did your master's in film school and you did a big deviation in careers,
Yeah,
I'd
so
say.
I have this moment of looking back and like thinking that whether should I have done that or like done like film workshop side by side my job and continued my job, like, because I ended up in corporate career anyway again. So but again, like I have this thing that, okay, I tried, maybe like I will be somewhere in future. Okay, so I took the path, I took the chance, I know how to deal with the struggle, and I know how it feels and everything. So I will not die like thinking what if I would have done that. So I would choose my own path. So, and it's also like, yeah, actually, because I went to a good engineering school and got a good job, I could do this as well, because I could earn a lot of money to save and pay for my master's education and have the safety net that, okay, I have enough confidence in me that I can do this and then do whatever. So it kind of, I mean, I would never actually, like, when I was 18, I would have never thought of like studying film, because I don't come from that kind of class space where people are going as a young kid to be a filmmaker, study to be a filmmaker, or art as a viable career option. People who are really into art, they go and they fight against so much of odds and they fight so many things. It's so much struggle. I was not that strong when I was 18. I couldn't have done that. So I did that when I was 27. So I was like, okay, I can do it. So
What was your
I could-
job out of bachelor's?
Oh, I didn't do engineering. I mean, it was not engineering. It was in consultancy. I was working for one of the big four firms, consultancy firms. So, yeah.
Doing what?
It was like tech consultancy. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think that's a great example because you went with what was a career move.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like smart in the conventional term.
Yeah,
And then
so-
you did a passion move. Like you
Yeah, I
balanced
didn't
it out.
focus on career.
Yeah.
That was my take, that I'm not focusing on my career. I'm focusing on like trying to do things that I want to do. And whether I fail or success, be failure or a successful person, that's upon again of things to see in future
Yeah.
or in now. But like I did those things, so I mean I believe in you only live once. So there you go.
That's
Yeah.
why you're doing this podcast and playing Tekken.
Yep.
This
Yeah,
limited
if
time
I'm
we
like,
have.
if I die, I can't play Tekken. That was the biggest realization I've ever had. Like when I die, I can't play Tekken anymore.
That was a huge revelation to me too. I thought even as a kid you could play Tekken after you died. And when my parents sat me down and said, no, in fact, Tekken also goes away when you're dead, I was like, holy crap. I gotta start playing it a lot now.
I saw this meme that says like, okay, sit in front of your computer as long as you want to, because when you die, you can't get to do that anymore.
Just
Silence.
Look at me. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
Good
that's
meme, Killy. Thanks for...
it's a really empowering meme. So like, yeah, guys, like be in front of your computer, play games.
God.
That's not an endorsement. That's not a Fear Stairs endorsement.
This is not. Yeah, I don't
Fear
endorse that
Stairs
message,
endorsement
please.
is go outside and play with friends. Don't stare at a screen. Look, I'm
I
gonna...
mean, yeah, play with friends looking at screen.
Okay, so I'm gonna read. This isn't a meme, but I asked you guys when we were watching this movie if you knew what I was talking about. But back in the day, there used to be email chains, and this was like before people reposted dumb fake stories on Facebook. They used to literally forward these emails to each other. Before that, they would literally send letters to each other's houses, which is crazy stories. People just like spreading weird stories.
Wait, for email chains, are you talking about like if you don't forward this, you're gonna
Stuff like
die?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
like so this is a story,
okay.
forward this to your friend, blah, 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 right? So I'm going to read the end of this kind of, but we've all seen this story in some form or another, okay? But this one is a Christianity one about a student challenging a professor that doesn't believe in God, right? Or doesn't believe that, he doesn't believe in God because he says evil exists. So if evil exists, then that means God makes evil. Okay, so the student stands up and challenges him. And at the second half of this, I'm going to read. Finally, the young man asked the professor, "Sir, does evil exist?" Sir, so he's like Indian. Okay. Now, uncertain, the professor responded, "Of course, as I have already said, we see it every day. It is in the daily example of man's inhumanity to man. It is in the multitude of crime and violence everywhere in the world. These manifestations are nothing else but evil." To this, the student replied, "Evil does not exist, sir, or at least it does not exist unto itself. Evil is simply the absence of God." The professor sat down. The young man's name? Albert Einstein.
Wow.
Boom.
Really, boom.
Mic drop.
And this is the movie, is like just owning the professor by debating him, which is fine too. I guess, okay, that was my main thing. And again, I agree with the message of don't take studies seriously, but owning people in a debate never ever works. I learned from debating family members, co-workers, friends, until I learned to stop doing that.
I don't like debating.
Debating doesn't
I
fly.
love debating.
I like debating, but I don't believe that debating can influence people much
Yeah.
anymore now.
That
And
doesn't
also
work.
like
It never works
putting
out.
so much. Okay, it can influence. People can put across their points and oppose each other, which is a very healthy thing. But saying that, oh, you won the debate, that means your points are valid. That's like, I used to feel that is the debate's goal when I was younger. But now, as an older person, I'm like, that doesn't mean shit. Like,
Yeah.
if someone is winning the debate, that means they're just good at debate. It doesn't mean that that point is stronger than the other point. So all these
Right.
debates are like it's good for debate. Debate is for debate's sake, like arts for art's sake, like debates for debate's sake. Like there is no debate is not for establishing one argument over other. Maybe it was when the knowledge was restricted, when knowledge was not shared, as not democratized as now. Like people didn't like knowledgeable people would come from different aspect of life, different culture, different background, be in one place and debate each other because there is no other way of contradicting each other. But now there are so many points way of contradicting each other, so debate is like a moot point now.
One more key takeaway that I do want to mention
Yeah.
before we wrap up is I think when it comes to values, we all live life by a set of values, and it can be different, it can be the same, but I think most of us have different values, and then we live in this capitalist system, education system that forces us to have one set of values being we need to be career oriented, we need to earn money, right? And then those that prefer to just live a free spirited life, have good relations, live simple, we don't need that much money, they kind of get pressured and conditioned to follow this one capitalist path. And it's becoming harder and harder to resist this, right? Especially with inflation and everything, you feel like you need to earn money, you need to have this mindset. So I think at a young age, for all our listeners, I don't know our age demographic of listeners, but like just trying to hold
4
on.
to 5 years old.
Like just trying to hold on to your actual values, not getting conditioned, not getting influenced by the education system, by the capitalist system, because at the end of the day, we're all gonna die. So yeah, might as well just live
I
life
think
on
I'm
your own
strong,
terms.
yeah.
I don't think I'll die. I think that's wrong. But
Yeah, Adam's like, wait, there's no Tekken in heaven. I ain't going.
I said no, God. I
No,
want
no,
to
no,
play
I,
Tekken.
no, you're right. Like we all live in a bigger farm later on.
My message to the kids out there, if you're listening, because I work with tons of kids that are doing it, whatever they can to get to America or whatever, and honestly, please don't go into debt to go to school.
Yeah, that's America's trap, right? It's like you need this degree or you'll be unemployable,
Yeah.
but you're gonna walk out here with at least 30 grand, if not 100 grand in debt.
Yeah, and then America, unfortunately, wants you to leave as soon as you graduate. Now, like, you can possibly get a job, that's no guarantee. So if you go back to wherever you came from with American debt, like, it's the
No.
opposite of, like, what you thought would happen.
Yeah, you just shot yourself in the foot
Yeah,
before you
instead
even
of, like,
started
making
working.
a ton of money, you owe a lot.
Exactly.
And, like, what did you get? Like, you went to an American university. Whatever you can do to avoid that, like, please.
Yeah.
You don't need that. And if you do go, just network the hell out of it. Like, I just want to know. Because so many kids think there is secret knowledge in American universities. There is not. They don't learn more. So, like, they don't learn differently that much. Like, you can learn on your own and, like, please, like, be clever in that way. But don't go to any random university. Like, go to, like, a really good one or just don't bother.
If you're gonna take out a loan to go to university, like a big amount, just go buy a house. Just take out a loan and go
Maybe
get a
start a
mortgage.
business. Honestly,
start
get a
business,
corner shop.
something. What do you?
I feel bad about that fiance of Kareena Kapoor.
Suhas, the guy.
Suhas. Yeah.
He's like a materialistic
you
guy.
spill fucking food on his shoe and he gets pissed. Okay, he has an angry shoe. But why would you spill food on his like someone's new shoe on a wedding? Like he would get pissed. Like Aamir Khan did that. And then like he gifts some expensive watch and then the girl loses it and then he gets angry. So it's somehow funny that he's getting angry over like the girl losing like few $100,000 worth of watch.
And you feel bad for him?
This is
Like I'm like he's being like
Kelly thinks he's the underdog.
film kinda did
him dirty.
unjust to him. a
Right.
little
Well, I
bit.
think the film is trying to go like a bit anti-capitalist, right? You're
Yeah.
materialistic. Yeah, you're gonna get the
But also-
short end of
he
the
sees
stick.
you for who
Yeah.
you really are.
this is giving Adam being fixated on the character's ages vibes right now.
No.
And she doesn't end up dating anyone else. She just is like, all right, I guess I'm not gonna marry that guy, and then just waits and finds him like 10 years later.
Yeah. She's such a pretty doctor and she hates that guy and then she ends up again with that guy. Like I mean, dude.
I didn't think Kareena Kapoor was pretty in this one.
Hey,
Shots
Kareena
fired.
Kapoor.
Shots
I
fired.
miss Casual. She should be a university student.
If
Yeah.
Adam could have it his way, he'd just have
Oh.
Kajol in every
Oh,
Bollywood
yeah.
movie.
Okay.
You have to watch Kuch Kuch Hota Hai then.
Kuch Kuch
Right?
Hota Hai.
She's a university student there. And there is this college no one studies ever.
Yeah, and we get
Yeah,
Shah
that's
Rukh Khan
Karan Johar's-
again.
That's Karan Johar's college.
First,
Like,
that's the first movie Karan Johar did, even before
Yeah.
Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. We should watch it sometime.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay.
a college where no one studies.
Before we really wrap up, just one more thing. There was the climax scene, the delivering the baby
Oh, yeah.
with the
We didn't
webcam.
mention that.
Yeah.
We
come
didn't
on.
mention that. We
Saving
didn't mention
babies. That's such a huge
Oh,
plot
now I
point.
realize this entire time Nikki was just itchy to get to the baby scene.
That's it, right? It's
I finally realized what he was
because
doing.
it was so it was so important to me because we just kept riffing on it
All right,
like
hit it. Yeah, let's
nonstop.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a scene where like it was like the ultimate scene that shows that virus will like let this all go.
Yeah.
Because like it was who was it was Kareena Kapoor's sister, right?
Yeah.
She was pregnant, and then like there was like a big heavy storm, big flood, and this was to the point that like virus was going to expel the three idiots. There was even a moment where what's his name?
Police.
You waited this whole time. This was your one moment. You've been fixating on this scene for the whole time.
There was a scene where Raju was like, committing suicide because, he wasn't going to pass for playing the urination prank, by the way. There's a lot of urine in this movie, by the way.
There's
a lot of urine in this movie. But then, this is the climax scene where, like, they cannot get, like, Virus's daughter cannot get to the hospital in time to deliver the baby. So then it's all up to our three idiots to, deliver the baby. And what do? The thing that we found ridiculous was that they were doing like a video call with Kareena Kapoor's character. And it's like, the operation was done through video call. And I know that back then, I don't think we'd have like good quality video. It would be like, it's just a little unrealistic. It kind of took, like rewatching it kind of took me off a little bit. It was the scene that, I guess when you think about it, it's like a scene that defied all odds. Like, it's Bollywood, because at one point, later in that scene, it's like the electricity goes off.
And he was making an inverter from the cars to supply electricity. So he used that to turn the electricity back on again, and then he uses a vacuum cleaner as a suction pump.
Oh yeah, he used the vacuum cleaner.
Actually, that inspired me to buy vacuum cleaners. So it's like, okay, if there is any pregnancy emergency around my house. No, that's a joke. Oh my god. Okay. So
I thought you were being serious.
You were dead serious.
He uses vacuum cleaner. Pressure, like, changes the pressure with his amazing engineering skill that he learned over 4 years by challenging professors, that he can control the pressure of the vacuum cleaner, and then that's how he delivered the baby, which was amazing.
Every time you watch a Bollywood movie, I feel like I'm surrounded by three idiots.
Wow, so we were all just waiting for this.
Yeah, I knew that.
I have a point, like I was making it before starting the podcast. Like, Three Musketeers is not three.
Oh,
there's a fourth one. Three Idiots is not.
Are you saying Winnie's the fourth idiot?
I am the observer. I'm observing the three idiots.
I will say the other thing I was fixated on was, and I guess I was wrong about this, but there's two times where there's this prank where this guy pisses on an electric spoon or something.
That works, Adam. I told you.
And
that
so,
works.
Winnie, did you know this? If you piss on something that's electric,
openware.
I haven't tried, so
Like,
no, I
you
haven't
get
noticed.
electrocuted.
Yes,
Oh.
because urine is conductor of electricity and it's coming from your body, so it kind of makes a connection to your body.
Well, I think we should wrap this up so we can do a little science experiment right
I
after
already
this.
tried.
Who volunteers? You tried. Adam tried.
yeah, I don't want to fry my nuts tonight, man.
I had Nikki hold the spoon in his mouth.
Oh, Jesus.
Give it to me.
This is what I mean. Three idiots.
Yeah.
No, we can
I was
Exhibit
hanging from a
A.
ladder.
we can do this experiment with something else. Like, we can put like a flow of water, like a dirty water, like pee, like which can be a conductor of electricity, to a live wire, and at the end we keep a tester, and then check the voltage reading, like maybe with the voltmeter.
Rancho has entered the conversation.
Where did you learn all that? Did you study for free somewhere? I've been taking classes for 6 years to learn how to shock people with piss. So now I've lined all the urinals so everyone gets shocked every
I have
time.
jars of urine in my home.
I've been practicing for years. I finally
Master
figured
of
it
the
out.
craft.
I just didn't realize that piss was such a solid stream. I thought like
Is yours not, Adam? You okay?
mine's like Morse code.
Yeah.
I do the Great
Sums up
Gatsby in
tedious.
Morse code every time I piss.
Sums up tedious pretty much. So many pee joke.
So I guess I did learn something from the film. I do like that message.
Don't ever pee on open live wire.
All right,
Yeah.
for all the degenerates watching this, that's the
If
key
you
message.
see an open electricity, open fence, or like anything like fences that has live wire, never try to pee on them.
Which I'm
guys.
sure happens a lot because, like, I'm sure it's your instinct to be like, I'll get this fire out with my piss.
Fire is fire. Fire
Not
is not
fire, but
electricity.
like an electric fire.
Yeah.
If I see like a Tesla, I just start trying to piss on it.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't do anything.
If it's in flames.
Yeah.
Okay. Closing thoughts.
Yeah, I still think it's a great movie. I mean, if we have to do like facts, it was like one of the highest grossing movies of its time. I
We
mean,
keep on watching highest grossing films.
We
yeah.
do.
yeah, we always
watching the hits.
we always watch highest
We
grossing
love
films.
that.
But this might be the highest profile movie we've watched because this movie is famous globally, right?
Yeah,
Not just
so
Bollywood.
like to me,
So was Happy New Year.
Not the
so
No,
was
no,
Happy
shut up.
New
But,
Year.
come
oh,
on.
you
Just
shut up,
because
man.
Thailand didn't know the mastery of the craft of Happy New Year doesn't mean the world.
Oh my
didn't
God,
know.
Kiwi, get out of here.
It was one of the highest grossing films in Russia.
It won
and
Cannes
in-
Film Festival.
and
God.
in England, it brought like people together.
You know, all these podcast listeners are gonna go quote this as facts.
Oh, Winnie, you're right. We're three idiots.
Money equals good. And Happy New Year was really good.
Yeah.
And so was this movie.
But like Three Idiots, Nikki, you've watched this movie before.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like nostalgia for this because in high school, I have this like Indian classmate. I was in theater class and she did like a musical number, Zooby Dooby, the song. That was my first exposure. I thought it was nice, and then I figured, and then
You
I
have a
found
crush
out.
on this girl?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
She's
No,
not.
no,
She's not
it
Kajol.
is amazing. The song is good.
And then like the film
She's not a
festival.
video game character.
The film festival that I went to watching this movie, it was like, I think it was literally like my first true exposure to Indian cinema. So that's why, that's why I hold it up in high regard, because it's like, I thought, okay, this is the basis for good Bollywood movies. But now
Nice.
that I'm in fear of stairs, I'm learning a lot more.
Yeah.
But it didn't. I mean, we were making fun of the movie here and there, but I still would recommend it to people. I think
it's a good watch.
It's a good starting
fun
point.
watch. Watch it with your friends together. It's a fun. Like most of the Bollywood films are made like a festive celebration with people. Like they are kind of designed that way. Like
It's a buddy
kind of
film to
build
watch
up,
with your buddies.
build up that way. Yeah. So do that. I fun fact, like after watching rewatching 3 Idiots again with us, Nikki, whenever he was opening a conversation on chat, it would be Zooby Dooby Dabba. And he was singing this song all the time.
Adam
in his head.
didn't understand what I was saying. He thought I was being a full retard or something.
Yeah, I was like, what? I don't know what this is referencing.
Like-
It's funny because when you watch a PK, that song in PK also got stuck in your
Yeah,
head.
it did. But like when Zooby Dooby came on, Adam was like, "Oh, now I know what you're talking about. Now I understand what you've been saying." And I think to myself, "Oh my god!" Because when I was saying Zooby Dooby, I was actually like expecting that people got it, and now I just realized that some people might not get it, and now I'm just looking like outing myself like some idiot like that just rambles or like says silly shit.
Zooby-Dooby.
No, I thought it was silly, but no, it's all good.
I don't
fun.
think it's a bad movie. I understand, especially if you're in college, being like, yeah, I get, like, I like this, I get it. The message is great, fuck professors, but like,
No, fuck their daughters.
and their
Whoa.
daughters. Damn, dropping the mic.
Wow.
And like, yes, school has a lot of pressure, and I'm glad that it's addressed. That's nice, and it's a nice buddy film. And there's like some fun moments and stuff. I don't like movies that like encourage you to be like a clever jackass.
You have really bad experiences with
I think
them,
I
right?
do.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, can you just like chill and like stop trying to be so clever and so like that is what like triggered me of like, oh, I get it, because if I saw this when I was young, I'd be like a very annoying little kid that like tried to be all clever and like with and I already kind of was, so it's just me like projecting. You know? But I was like, I don't like to see that.
I think just to add on a little bit, I think for as a Thai person, I think it just paints like this fantasy of what we could do. We could like be a smart ass. We could question.
Exactly.
I think
So
it's not-
empowers people.
it's not something we dare to do, but it does paint
Yeah.
that reality.
But anecdotally, one of the classmates of mine turned into a wannabe rancho, and it was really irritating to be around
See, that's
him
what
in
I'm
the
talking
classroom.
about.
Okay, but you see, that's like probably the minority. I'm sure it just
Yeah,
empowered a
minority,
lot of
just
people
one
who
person.
didn't have
Yeah.
voices.
One
to
in 4
speak up.
people. Or how many friends did you have? 2? 1 in, so it's just half.
Yeah.
50% of people become
it's the classroom.
clever assholes.
In the classroom, there was one person.
I mean,
yeah,
I think
who turned into
objectively,
that.
it's still a great movie,
Yeah.
right? And I'm a sucker for movies with social commentary. Like, I'm not a movie person. I'm more of a social issues person. So I appreciate movies that gets you thinking, gets people talking. And I think this movie actually got a lot of people to open up about the pressure they had experienced, right? So it's impactful because of that. It makes a change. And my only takeaway is, how do you say it? All is well.
All
is well.
All is well.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.